Wabana, the beauty of experiencing somebody's body of work on stage or on a platform, knowing what this person took time to create such like execution, we so it's just heartwarming. And I feel what we do not even need so much for the experience and the energy that was invested in creating that piece, because already we can feel it. So there's no need to convince us with anything. She was a bit worried earlier on ka music or should she include music or not. And then we spoke of how poets are writing music ikateng, forgetting that there's power within the words that we wrote. There's power within the story that you want to put on stage. So the pen always speaks for itself. The soul that's within you always speaks for itself. There's no need for us for the battle. Hey, already the message has touched those touching. Whether the sound is there, whether the sound is high, already it has traveled.
Mother Universe, forgive the seed that sinfully found its way through the portal that incubated me for months. The outcome was not intentional. And if I was, I plead that you rather exhume the portal from which I existed and banish me to the universe that possibly emitted me without a notice, and cremate the thought that I would ever breathe on this land. For my existence is a punishment to the innocent soul clothed in the skin, wrists bruised from the shackles of existence, intimate with the floor. My knees bleed for inner peace, overflowing sweat glands my soul sweats for an exchange, Mother Universe. There's something in the air that smells rotten, and my soul hopes vultures are feeding on my curse. My birthday, curse me, no, curse the sperm that swam faster than the rest, and curse the ovum that hungrily swallowed it, Mother Universe. There's a blaze of rage evoked by every breath I take. If you were a genie, I'd wish for a noose, so save the day, feed my addiction, exterminate my fatal fate. Perhaps I'd also cease to exist. My false self waits for mercy upon me, Mother Universe. She did not beg to be conceived, incubated, born, and abandoned. Forgive the naive womb that carried out this futile exercise. What a waste of time. And to the body that stretched itself to make room for me, forgive me for sounding a bit ungrateful, but my dejection has revealed to me that only execution can pacify my hate for existence. And even if over my chest blossoms a dead bouquet, I hope it resembles my smile, the one I constantly have to resuscitate. Sinfully found its way through the portal that incubated me for months. The outcome was not intentional. May the beautiful soul of Mr. Makado rest in peace.
For the longest time, we're sort of, being introduced as like this miracle, or a country that had this miracle transition and a miracle democracy. But I think we started to see that, this democracy wasn't working for everyone. And I wanted to ask questions and, like I said, creating a conversation about, how it is that we got there. I think it was a bit ambitious to try and fit all of that into an hour. But I think we did pretty well. The film is still traveling, finding new audiences, and I'm happy that it happened. Two words that came out of Sister Lisedi's talk after Africa, after your performance, that I picked up, when you said that, people, you want to have like music. You were talking about how she wanted to questions whether or not she should have music with her performance, and you said that it was important for the words to come out, to come through, and the story to come through. In documentary, there's this thing that is that we spoke about in saying that truth is king, and so for me, truth is the chief or the key ingredient or the key currency for my documentaries. And it becomes very important for whoever speaks in the documentary, or I guess the theme or the topic that we're talking about, to sort of speak from a very frank place, from a very honest place as well. So that it's not just about story and how well of a story we're telling, but how is the truth actually speaking about the conditions of the people and what they're experiencing. I hope that maybe one day you also see my first film, which Sifiso has seen, called Uprise, which is about the youth of 1976 and the events that took place at the time. We're told in 1994 that, okay guys, here's your freedom, you're happy, and it's very hard for a lot of young people to connect to a painful past, because a lot of what they've seen are images of like dead bodies on the ground and that kind of thing. So whoever's interested in telling positive stories about our people and looking for the kind of images that could do that, I could make myself available to sort of point you in the right place. Whether you write whatever happened down, you journal it down to on this day this happened. You've got cameras, you've got phones, you've got microphones. It's really important, because when we think of archive, we always think about something that's happened in the past, but we never necessarily think of archive as this moment existing in the future, and you know what this moment holds for that, for that imagined future. You don't know where I will be, where you will be. And it would be important that in your story that maybe I exist, or in my story that you exist. And so, don't take for granted moments like these. Like, always try and document as much as you can, so that you create your own archive, Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Sifiso was thinking when he was using the soundtrack, to actually, what I mean, be sort of like the theme song for his film. But I feel like for me it was like, this was pumping and people were focusing on this, and there was all of this other stuff happening on the side that we would not really see, because it was so nice. Because I mean, the movie, the film itself starts with very nice euphoric times, where the teams were winning and the Rainbow Nation was like, the sort of like, you understand, it starts there, and the soundtrack actually starts there, and this is what was playing at the time and what people were focusing on, and there was all of this other stuff happening, and it's happening right now still. So
Okay,
I think
just to ask, how did a musical culture sort of distract an entire generation? It's like there is a soundtrack which was just bumping when everything was going wrong, when Codesa and all kind of democratic signatures and legislatures were really being screwed up by our fathers. But somehow, Rona Kamu, regroovile.
exactly.
How did music as an art form manage to distract?
Playing Kadasa,
You're
never
busy killing
peace.
each
You
other.
understand? It's exactly what is happening now. South Africa is still going through that. Is that there is that music that pumps. You understand? That pumps the people. It gives the people that.
Yes, in terms of trying to what if the music is not a distraction? What is it?
See the post, it's a Sifiso on Facebook, But then during the time, and that day, Desmond Tutu at Tlhokafala, we experienced a sort of confusion within society, where you have other people saying he's a sellout. We have others who were hailing him as a hero. And then luckily I saw post, Sifiso Khanyile, where he said he doesn't understand why people feel like that way about Desmond Tutu, And then on my perspective, me as an individual, honestly, I don't hail like Ntate Desmond as this super hero as much as like Bomandela, cause of my own perspective. But that doesn't mean I'm a hater. You get what I'm saying? He did what he had to do because he was in whatever space le batho ba van le bone during that time. He understood things that others didn't understand. But then ke fail to focus or ke fail to focus in a sort of like struggle when it's based upon people who managed to live and push this thing forward, and not focus also to people who managed to die for the struggle. The content itself, struggle, like who contributed to the struggle. As much as we know who contributed, but some issues diba sensitive to the so-called heroes saro. And
those heroes are our parents again.
And those heroes are our parents.
Because literally they are the ones.
And also at the same time our heroes, they also are our parents. But then the subject, when you raise it, especially like in a context yabatoba who had the privilege of being, I don't know to say, with white people or institutions or whatever, like I don't even know.
Some of them who had privilege.
Some of them, just to be specific. Some of them who had that privilege. So, Naki believer, it's gonna be difficult for Daki, who has experienced nothing but hate from the supreme white people, to sympathize. Le Desmond to like. Now, that's my perspective.
Kind of doing a grade 11 or grade 10 there. And must figure ukuthi la uthi lena ikhupimesi iyaqhashwa this. Uyangibamba. The society la ubangam. Ngathi is able to escape uyabaleka umncedisi. And then ndiya umbambe ngejezi endibophe esinqeni, ndiya kijezi ndiyabaleka. I run away. And then they catch me mangibamba. Umncedisi uyaba. Akasabaleki and he stop, but he's already free umncedisi and babambile. And then after banibambile, they take my cell phone, bathatha imali yabo. So mama look and search and I mean ngabona ithathu yakhe ukuthi 26, and so I'm part of the 26. So then the 30 nomboro na I mean gives back to me my things, and then we are thetha nami ukuthi emuntu because of this so in terms of a nomboro based ngimgayitele in my money in 10 rand say negotiate. This is a decision, it's what happened, ne? And then I'm guiding. I think in my case there was a justice in whatever happened, and then we had something in common when we make decision with this guy. Yeah, if it happens, if Ebetate something from me, ne? I take something from me, and then the justice is not met between Tina and mntanam afune justice for mna, ne? I believe ukuthi umntanam has any other right, because that's that guy ends example about the trucks. The trucks are stolen, and then they come, they apologize. So sorry for stealing your truck, and then they go back.
They're still driving it.
They're still driving the truck. I negotiated things as so it's different in terms of how do you negotiate even the future for someone else, and after that you don't bring back into that. Because if we think that we are affected now, it's the best thing to do.
What's up? But that is lost, to be honest. Lost as
because angana yikho.
Ikhona yona but
Ibiza ngegama tramtase man.
Yintoni ekuzayenza?
Ibiza ngegama. That is why we as the youth, we are still stuck in what we are in. Because we are not naming the revolution that needs to be taken. Because that revolution is even against our parents. Do you understand? This is beyond ideological. It is us having to go back to saying, no, my mom was wrong, my dad was wrong. We have a traditional sort of default brain kind of thing. Everybody has got a worship of their parenthood. And then you end up not wanting to question whatever decision. You're just like having to question your parents' decision, and you know that your parents' decision got you into this mess. And you know it. And you are fully using a camera and
I feel like
my life is not by default. I do not want do you know that that's how voices start? There are no voices that start in an echo and a crescendo. It starts with one.
Yeah.
So like abanye abantu abayenza something bakhona well, I want to be there, but then sometimes yes, no beggar like take the example in the vaccination. There are people who didn't want to vaccine but then your body is change. Sometimes I was getting shopping or something because I was vaccinated. It forces you to vaccinate. I was get school in like Tisha. So how did you find that? But Tisha was
okay, now you're asking a very valid question. It's like fighting capitalism. You know, capitalism is a system that is governing the world. It's impossible for us to dismantle it. You understand where humanity thinks success is a car. They have to have a 4x4. And then they know that 4x4 jousts petrol, which is destroying the same ozone layer, that's creating floods, that's killing them. But somehow these humans still want the car. Yeah. It's still like the most amazing thing that they want to have. Pretty much the same premise that you are finding yourself in. But I want to go to this thing called an institution of their education, and then they've got pitfalls and hurdles which I must cross.
What we can do right now is to empower ourselves first. You know, so how do we empower ourselves? Obviously, you know, we can either go to these institutions because they already exist and they have all of these other, I guess, they have all these other, I don't know, benefits with them. Yeah, that can get you into certain things and make you allow you to be taken serious, you know. Or you can, you know, there are other ways, you know what I mean. You can obviously inform yourself in all sorts of ways, but we need to get to a place where we can be economically
Independent of capitalism?
Not really,
Is
because
it possible?
it's not with our people sleeping. So we need to work within these systems, unfortunately, but try not to.
See, now you're taking
Because we can't be Asian. We can't change it like completely. Understand? Unless maybe we say, okay, our this thing that we are doing now, it works and it gives us money, and we don't have to go to any other institution to go, you know, source money so that we can live. Understand? I'm not saying money is the only way, obviously, to live. There are other ways we can plant food and everything. But you know what I mean? Like that's another just, you know what I mean, rabbit hole on its own. But what I'm saying is, we have to think of things, you know, for what they are and what is happening right now. Like she said, she's like, no, I had to deal with the vaccine mandate. Do you understand? You know, these are some of the things that, you know, we should not shame people who go into those things. You know? But we should obviously keep talking, keep having these conversations, and keep really teaching about these things. But obviously, even us within these systems or within these institutions, need to find a way to be independent, so that we are not, you know, we don't become afraid to talk, and we don't become afraid to act in other ways. Because
and also confront the wrongs of the same
exactly
system.
You understand. But
because
what we can do
when you think it's my job, but you're not gonna talk against corruption.
So personally, we have a responsibility to be disciplined, and that means we have to be very. And by discipline, I speak about work, you know, hard work. You know, we need to really work hard, guys. We need to really work hard, because there's no other way to get out of this thing. It means you have to put in more work in the things that you like to do. If somebody else is doing it 2 times a day, you have to try and push it to 4 times a day, so that you at least be a step ahead, because unfortunately you are far more disadvantaged than other people who have a different skin tone. You understand? So so that requires that we become disciplined in the things that we believe we should be doing, and the things that we believe we should be talking about. Like now, we need to be disciplined and actually, you know, sharpen our skills or whatever that we are good at and whatever that we believe like we want to achieve or succeed in.
Sometimes you can try to say, I want to clean the whole area, but your house is a big style, like it's very creative stuff.
Exactly.
And one says, I want to contribute in a economy, everything, but you cannot afford yourself on.
Yes, that's what
I'm saying. So
saying.
that's the thing that you need to sometimes to fight your own battle.
Yeah.
And when you fight, you've won your own battles, and that you're able that you could contribute positively in terms of the community.
Exactly.
And stuff.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Because without winning your one battle, and then in terms of capitalist, you won't do anything in terms of system.
You can't.
You won't do anything.
Alone, not alone.
Even if you can't, you need to start fighting your own battles, and if you've won your own battles, and then you can say that I can approach a system. You say, because by then that we have a funding of what we can do this thing like this. We can do this thing like this. You see. So, but if you're still struggling yourself, you cannot just have that bigger effect in terms.
No, but then like here when we were watching the documentary, there was this guy who talked about obviously once you want to negotiate, there are things that you need to make sure that you're gonna sacrifice.
There is a lot of systematic barriers in jail. Even if you were to go, to any, industry in jail, to try and establish yourself as an individual, as a professional or whatever, you're still gonna meet barriers as an individual. Because obviously there's already monopolies. It's like we are here. We are sort of a network of people. You understand? So if I want, for instance, visual services, you are the first person I'm going to consider because I know you. And so already these people who have these big companies and who actually offer bigger services. For instance, you think of a lot of people that are involved with that are subs here, who are subcontractors, in the RDP project. A lot of companies that are black owned, they're small scale, so they can't really handle projects of a certain magnitude. Understand? Then you have obviously white companies that were inherited by younger white men.
Yeah,
I almost said something wrong.
Yeah, so what I'm getting is like we're saying the same thing here.
These boys have inherited all of that. So like the only thing they bring with themselves is just their name of their
and they are connected to the blacks.
Exactly. So there's already a monopoly that is there in the business in the business world. You understand? So even there, that's what I'm saying. Even there, it's just difficult to infiltrate. But that does not mean, because unfortunately this is how the system is set up, and this is the system. You understand? And we live within it, and we live via it. So how are we gonna fund our ideas if we don't have the money? And where do we outsource the money? Because unfortunately,
the exact same question.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
The other confrontational question I asked you guys was that how does this generation confront the flaws of the
We
past?
become agents. We become agents.
So, but then I like the example.
Just for you to hear, but now the rest that you can cherish. I write a single in this prompt so shattered. Something wrote to hit your heart with. Repeat, imagine. I'm in the studio with pound of music. Just imagine. This is magic. They can blame with a deck of cards. I'm here for love, but even hate can help us set the bar up. People are balance, yin or yang, everything inside us. Deep in the goddess, erupt the stance of a present father. Addicted to the real, what's the deal? Got me at a record deal for the mill. For a most pepper, fast and written. I'm on a mission. Go literary precision, homie, just listen. Word.